Hello, I'm Victor Costa, and welcome to the Daily Lift. Several years ago, I was privileged to be able to have an audience with the Dalai Lama. It wasn't just me. It wasn't a private meeting or anything. I'm not that important. It was a seminar, if you will, at Radio City Music Hall. Everyone in the audience had an opportunity to experience the Dalai Lama, and it was a beautiful event. He was flanked on each side by at least 100 monks, and beside him sat a person who was there to translate in the event that he couldn't figure out what the audience was saying if there was a Q&A. And so the actor Richard Gere introduced the Dalai Lama. It was a beautiful day. It was beautiful outside. It was beautiful inside. There were tapestries and silks everywhere, and a beautiful chair. The Dalai Lama took his seat at center stage, and of course everyone applauded. And this serene setting, this wonderful setting, was just terrific and magical. And to be in a place where everyone was sort of experiencing the same thing was very, very special. And what was really wonderful about this particular day, and I think everyone was trying to figure out how they felt about being in the Dalai Lama's presence. What was amazing was that the lights were bothering him. They were very bright, so he donned a sun visor. And this reminded the audience that he too is a regular person, a human being who has discomforts like the rest of us, who feels like the rest of us and thinks like the rest of us, and is a practical individual. And that brought us together. The audience communed with him over this sun visor, reminding us that he is like us and we are like him. It was a beautiful service, if you will. He gave a speech about what peace means, about various things that have happened in his life and how he feels. And he opened up the auditorium to question and answer. A woman next to me was called upon to offer her question. And she asked the Dalai Lama, "How do you find peace in a city like New York?" The Dalai Lama just stared at her. He stared into the audience and he stared at her. And quite some time had passed, to the extent that the translator began to interpret the question in the Dalai Lama's native tongue. The Dalai Lama immediately quieted the translator, as if to say, "I know what she's asking, but I'm formulating my answer." Some more time had passed, and finally he looked at her, addressed her, and said, "Why don't you move?" The question was, how do you find peace in a place like New York? And the Dalai Lama gave a simple answer. Why don't you move? If you can't find peace, and peace should be a priority, then surely you should seek peace and you should move. And of course the audience laughed at the simplicity of the answer, even childlike answer. But when you think about the wisdom, it is the precise answer. If you can't find peace, then move. And he didn't necessarily mean take all of your belongings and get out of here and go to another state and live alone. He meant do something. Do something. If this is your complaint, then do something. Move. No one is holding you hostage in New York. There are not bars around you. Yes, you may have an apartment, a job, and commitments, but these are no excuses for depriving oneself of peace. In the Dalai Lama's world, peace is a priority, and we can make that a priority in our lives. We don't have to move our homes. We don't have to go sit on a mountaintop in Tibet. We can just move. We can do something. We can attempt to experience more peace by looking for more peace, by seeking more peace. You can do that. You can do that in a noisy city. If you can't do it in a noisy city, you're not going to be able to do it in Tibet. The crickets will be bothering you in Tibet. The glades will be bothering you. The wind will be bothering you. The sun will be bothering you. Something will bother you. But you have to move. It's a spiritual movement. It's a recognition and a movement toward peace. You can find peace even within a storm. And I was so privileged to be able to hear that and to be reminded that peace is a choice, regardless of where you live. If you don't like your condition, instead of complaining, instead of wishing for a better condition, move. Do something. Move. It doesn't have to be a grand movement, something subtle. If you can't find overall peace, how about a little peace? How about a couple of moments of peace? How about finding things that make you peaceful or make you feel peaceful? I'll never forget this seminar or greeting or meeting with the Dalai Lama. It was really, really remarkable. It reminded us that all we have to do to cure our ills, whether they are physical or emotional or mental, we have to move. We have to begin. Einstein said, "Nothing happens until something moves." What a brilliant quote. The Dalai Lama knows this as well, and he lives it. We can take lessons from this and take a cue from this, regardless of our faith, our religion, our background. When you make anything a priority, you will find it. And when you stop complaining about it, suddenly it becomes more evident. When you stop the tape that's running in your mind of the complaint, you allow room for the answer to come in. I hope you enjoyed this podcast today, and I hope you find the peace that you're looking for. Thank you so much. Have a peaceful day.